Just a quick note. I've mentioned before, it's kind of weird how these things come together. It's natural to say, hey, I have a web page and here's the style sheet of how to display this particular information. When you have a database, and I'm thinking again as an XML tree as a database, you want many different programs to interact with that database. You want to present different views and have different ways of presenting the same information, different syntheses of that information. And yet, with xslt, they say, hey, XML is the database, and there is one style sheet to render this entire database, and only one. And so it's kind of weird in these examples of the ancient wonders. I've actually been making a copy of the XML file for every single example there, just to make, probably to make it self-contained. What's the better way? There must be a better way. xslt doesn't provide it, but if we're doing things server-side, PHP could provide that. Here's what we can do. We can go ahead and, if you had the same XML file you wanted to use repeatedly, and many other pages that all had an individual view of it, you could go ahead and make a file that corresponded to each view. A PHP file that simply mentions the style sheet as a literal and then requires the XML file, snarf-setted. That will go back to your browser, and even if your browser is rendering the xslt, then this will work just great. Now you can have one copy of your XML file and share it among many different style sheets. You need, in addition to the style sheet, you need to have this one extra file, which is what people will actually provide the URL to, so it's a little bit roundabout, but it can be done. If you're doing this a lot, of course, you probably want to abstract this out and not just repeat the code all the time, so you can make a little two-line function that could do that. Okay, and I'm just going to mention real quick that we've been doing this xslt processing client side. It's possible to do it server side. There's nothing stopping us. In particular, there's a PHP library that lets you go ahead and do xslt processing. Okay, so if you somehow don't want to do this processing on your, have it done on the client side, you can go ahead and do the following, a little sample program. If you're interested, you go ahead and copy and paste that, but basically there are some built-in methods that can go ahead and classes that can be used in PHP that you can go ahead and use. So, okay. So, yeah, that all works great. That's a less important issue than understanding how to share one database among many different views. And even that is not something we're going to do for this class, but it's worth knowing. Sayonara.